Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's tapping session. We are going to be talking about a really interesting thing that came through for me over the last couple of days in this whole way of thinking about how we receive and give to ourselves as moms, and especially as introverted moms. This is a big thing that's coming through for me personally because I am an introvert by nature. I really tend to I need to take time alone in order to replenish and restore my energy and to be able to give more fully. So I have to give to myself before I can give to others. And this is a huge challenge for moms, any kind of mom, any kind of caregiver, anybody who gives to some other people or to anything in any sort of way, right? So this new concept that's kind of been coming through for me lately is that I am a channel of giving and that I am not the source itself. And when I think of it this way, I think, well, if I am not the source, I'm not being taken from, and I am able to give freely, more freely, because then I am able also to receive without thinking that I am taking away from anyone else. So it's a huge like paradigm shift for myself personally. And I wanted to come on and just tap a little bit around this, and hopefully it helps you as well. I'd love to hear how you feel about giving and how you feel about receiving. And do you receive as graciously as you give? This is another layer that I have come across. Sorry, we have a puppy here, and he just can't help but try to get up on my lap right now. He's such a big sucky baby. So, hey, so cute. Okay, but it's not going to work to tap with him. So if you hear scratching and whining, it's because he wants to come up. I know, but you just got to find a spot and lay down. Okay, so yeah, receiving as graciously as you give, especially as mothers, being able to see things from a different lens, because I do think that, I just put out an email actually to my newsletter around how it takes time and trust and rapport to be able to take time for yourself as a mom, because that's not the predetermined conditioning. That's not what we've been taught. We've been taught to put ourselves last. And as much as we try to wiggle ourselves away from that, it's very deeply ingrained, like thousands of years, I'm sure. But so let's get some tapping. Hello, I know. You're such a little baby sock. Okay, well, if you want to sit like that, you can. I know. Okay, so let's just start out with some general tapping around the difficulties and the challenges that we have when it comes to, oh, I hope you're not getting this dirty. When it comes to giving to ourselves, to receiving for ourselves, the distractions and the interruptions that we come across in trying to take time for ourselves, and just the challenges. It's just hard. It's uncomfortable. There's guilt. There's shame. There's resentment that comes through when I think about this sometimes. There is feeling like I'm wasting time. And so when I think about being the source of giving, so if I am the one that people are taking from, and if I take energy or time or attention away for myself, that I am taking away from my kids or my spouse or my dog. Um, and so it can feel very capped. It can feel like there's a lot of it can feel like our time and our energy is measured out by some predetermined cause. So let's start tapping on that. You take a moment to take a gentle breath here. Again, tuning into the emotions that come through for you when you think about receiving for yourself or giving to yourself. What are you taking away from? What beliefs may come up with that? And also taking a look at tuning into where you feel that in your body. And so for myself personally, right now, I can feel it in my stomach. I am excited for this new way of thinking about it, but I can still feel those deeply ingrained beliefs, that preconditioned way of being a mom, way of being a woman, way of being kind of feeling like totally misunderstood as an introvert, and needing to take time alone for myself in order to regroup and replenish my energy. So I do feel that in my stomach. So just take a note and see how high that is as well. I mean, like I said, it's mixed with excitement for me because I have kind of stumbled through and found this new way of looking at it for now. So, but there is that mix of like uncertainty about it as well. So let's go ahead and start by tapping on the side of the hand and saying, even though it's not easy to take time for myself, I have a lot of things on my plate. There are a lot of distractions and interruptions. That's okay, because I love and accept myself anyway. And I'm open to how this might be different. Even though I've been taught that I am supposed to give to others before I give to myself. Just a quick pause. A delivery guy just came in, so if you hear dogs barking, they might go off. So I'm just going to give a minute and just let them deliver. And then we'll not restart, but we'll start again. Okay. Hey. Come down. Okay. A little bit of distraction right there, interruptions. Yay. Okay. So even though, let's just keep going, even though I have been taught that I need to put time towards others before I can take time for myself. I realize that this is something I've been taught, and I love and accept myself anyway. Even though this is the normal way to do motherhood. This is the expected way of being a mom. To put everybody else first. To make everybody else matter. And then I get whatever's left over. I love and accept this part of me today. But I know that there's something different that can happen here. And I'm open to exploring that now. So we're going to go to the top of the head and say, being a mom is hard. Eyebrow points. It tugs at all of my energy. Side of the eye. It takes up most of my time. Underneath the eye. There's not a lot of time left over for me. Underneath the nose. And I think I just have to suck it up. Underneath the mouth. That this is just the way it is. Collarbone point. This is what being a mom is. Underneath the arms. It's giving everyone and everything else your time and attention. Underneath the chest. And waiting around to get whatever's left over. Wrist points. It's not normal for moms to go first. Top of the head. But I know a lot of the time, eyebrow point, in order to give more freely and openly to others, side of the eye, I need to give more freely and openly to myself first. Underneath the eye. And this is hard to do. Underneath the nose. This is not acceptable. Underneath the mouth. There are different expectations. Collarbone point that I have to adhere to first. Underneath the arm. I give myself permission to put these preconditioned beliefs down. Underneath the chest. I give myself permission to put them on a shelf. Wrist points. I give myself permission to explore something different. Top of the head. I give myself the time and space I need. Eyebrow point. In order to see and do this differently today. Side of the eye. Maybe it might not happen today. Underneath the eye. I might not make this shift today. Underneath the nose. But at least I know that it is an option. Underneath the mouth. And I give myself permission to explore that more today. All right, so just taking a nice gentle breath here, tuning in and seeing how it feels for you emotionally and physically in your body, as well as mentally what's coming up for you around giving and receiving to yourself now. And as you're tuning in, I really love the fact that tapping EFT can hold space for us to voice these weird and wacky, crazy ideas that are so not acceptable. Deep down, they're not acceptable. People say all the time, you take time for you as a mom. You got to sleep when the baby sleeps. You got to do you got to take care of yourself. Where's your self-care routine? What's this? What's that? Like, what are you doing for you today? And then, it's like a double-edged sword when people are like, you got to take time for yourself. But then when you're not there for them, in whatever way or shape that means, even if it's just in your own mind, you have that expectation or that judgment that comes in, or that comparison that comes in when it comes to, and then ultimately guilt. So you can never fully lean into taking time for yourself and fulfilling yourself first, because you have those it's like loose wires basically in our subconscious that are basically firing. They've been cut, but they're still firing. They're still hot. They're still energized, and they're still, making noise. And we're still wary to go anywhere near the fact that we can take care of ourselves first. We can prioritize ourselves, and we can make ourselves matter as mothers first. And then we can give more freely and openly. But those wires that have been cut are still hot within us, if that makes any sense. I kind of like that analogy. When we're dealing with subconscious beliefs or generational or ancestral or karmic beliefs and things that come through in our lives today, in our experiences today, and we're rewiring, we're redefining, and we're cutting cords and all of these things. But those wires are still hot. They're still like, they haven't been grounded yet, or they haven't been disassembled yet or taken out yet. And so it can be nerve-wracking to try to go into these new shifts of believing in what we want to believe, in doing things the way that we want to do things, in prioritizing our energy, taking time and attention, and all of these things for ourselves. It's hard to go back into creating those as the new energetic pathways. Because those other old energy pathways are still hot. They're still energized in there too. So hopefully that makes sense. Sorry, that was a little ramble on, but let's just, I would like to open up space now to this affirmation here, that when I give to myself from source, not as the source, resources are limitless and flow freely. So this is a big shift for me, is as soon as I started thinking about it in this way, that I have for so long thought that I was the source of giving, that I was the source of love, that I was the source of attention and focus, and like it was all coming from me to my kids, to my spouse, to my work, to whatever commitments or responsibilities I have. And that every time a distraction or interruption comes up, I have to shift my attention and my focus and my time and my energy to that distraction. But when I started thinking it as, well, if I am a channel for that source of energy, when I am a channel of giving, then I can give to myself, I can give to others, and I can quickly and easily pivot between myself and others, myself and the distractions, what I want to focus on and what's coming up for me. On the outside, that is not kind of what I want to focus on, right? And so when I think about it that way, then I'm like, well, it could be easier. It could be easier to allow my attention, my energy, my time to go from one thing to the next, because I know that I have access to an unlimited source of energy. And so when I know that, and I know that I am not the source itself, that those resources start to flow and they start to become limitless, and they are flowing freely from me, through me, but they're not of me. They're not from me necessarily, right? So it's kind of a weird concept, but it's interesting to kind of take a look at. So let's go ahead and start tapping again on the side of the hand and say, when I think about giving, it feels like I am being taken from. It feels like I am the source of giving. And there's only so much of me to go around. And that's okay. I love and accept myself anyway. And I'm open to seeing this differently. When I think about giving or receiving, I feel like there's only so much time and energy to go around. And that if I take energy for myself, I'm taking away from my kids, my spouse, and that makes me feel guilty. And that's okay. I'm learning new ways of looking at this today. And I don't expect myself to get it all in one shot. Especially because I've been doing things differently, or I've been doing the old ways for so long. I have been giving to others before I give to myself. I have been prioritizing others before I prioritize myself. And I made everyone and everything else matter before I could make myself matter. And this is not going to be an easy shift, but I am very curious about making this shift. And I wonder if I could make a little headway today. And I love and accept all these different parts of me today. Top of the head. I've been doing this for so long. Eyebrow point. I have been giving before receiving for so long. Side of the eye. I have been prioritizing others before myself for so long. Underneath the eye. This is something that goes back hundreds of thousands of years. Underneath the eye, or underneath the nose, sorry. This is something that goes back way beyond me. Underneath the mouth. This way of being was preconditioned and predetermined. Collarbone point, way before I ever showed up here. Underneath the arms. And so when I think about shifting this for myself, underneath the chest and doing things differently. Wrist points. I realize that I'm not just doing this for myself. Top of the head. That there's a long, long energetic line. Eyebrow point. That I am connected to. Side of the eye. And that line is shifting as well. Underneath the eye. But I am here and I am curious. Underneath the nose. I would like to know what it feels like. Underneath the mouth. To have limitless resources. Collarbone point. To have free-flowing time and energy. Underneath the arms. Not only for those around me. Underneath the chest, but for myself as well. Wrist points. This is a big shift. Top of the head. This is like beyond this world kind of a shift. Eyebrow point. But I'm super curious and interested. Side of the eye. And I wonder what it would be like underneath the eye to see it differently today. Underneath the nose. So that when I give to myself from source, underneath the mouth, and I am not the source itself. Collarbone point. That resources are limitless and flow freely. Underneath the arms. I'm curious about learning and leaning more into this today. Okay, so just taking a moment and tuning in again to any emotion, any physical sensations, any beliefs, any chatter in your mind that comes up when it comes to doing things differently. Like this is a big, huge shift. This is like a monumental shift in the paradigm of motherhood. It's a complete, 180, giving to yourself before you give to others. And, from giving to everybody else before you can give to yourself. And so this, of course, there's so many different nuances to this. There's so many different layers. I mean, people are at different, you're probably in there's so many different stages of motherhood that this may feel like such a long shot, that this may feel like maybe only a minute or two is available to you first before you can attend to your baby, right? Like, I mean, there's obviously nuances to this that that need to be worked into, but everybody is at their own stage of motherhood. Everybody is in their own unique season and cycle. So this is just a general tapping about opening up to what it might mean to get your resources from source and allow them to flow through you versus thinking that you are the source and that they have to come from you. And so again, like I said, it could mean so many different things to so many different people because of where we are in our different stages of life. So I just wanted to kind of share a little bit about this today and open up the open up the doors or the windows or like a little crack in the wall to um, how this might start to become something for you, especially as a mom, especially as an introverted mom. We can take on a lot. We take on so much, and if we are able to redirect, where we take things on from, and where we and how we take things on. So knowing that we maybe not have to take on as much as we need to or that we thought we needed to, and that we do have this source, within us and around us that is available so that we don't have to be the source, right? Um, yeah, it's interesting. So, and I mean, you can replace source with anything that resonates with you. It could be God, it could be the universe, it could be, sorry, this robin just like jumped up on our deck here. I mean, it could be nature, right? It could be whatever nature is the most beautiful example of seeing that things come through it. But I mean, they don't, it's hard to explain. Things come through nature, but nature is tied directly to source itself. Nature is directly tied through Mother Nature itself. So Mother Nature comes through nature, if that makes any sense at all. And it's at its own pace, it's at its own time, it does its own thing. I mean, it's snowing and it's, April 1st tomorrow. It goes by its own rules. It plays by its own rules. And it doesn't, I mean, you can't do anything about it. You can adjust to it. And so as moms, we are basically the stewards of these children that we have. We're the stewards of relationships. We're the stewards of these seasons and cycles in our lives, in our personal lives. And we hold space for other people and other experiences, circumstances. We hold space for ourselves as well. And so if we can learn to own that stewardship and that what we need and what we get for ourselves, what we can have fulfilled for us will be given back out, it will be reciprocated, and so much more abundantly, right? So when we're coming from a full place, we're able to give from a fuller place, right? So it's actually a disservice to those around us and the experience that we're having if we deplete ourselves completely giving from emptiness and refuse to take time for ourselves to regroup and restore our own energy stores, because source knows, the universe knows, God knows, nature knows that if you don't fulfill what you need, then it's the exchange is very poor, right? And so you're actually doing a disservice when you're in a state of depletion and you're exchanging. So it's interesting. It's something super, super interesting, and I love to chat about it, especially because I'm moving through various parts of it. And I do believe that as moms, if we step into that power, if we step into that wisdom and we own what we know and we own how we do things, that it will create a huge ripple effect in this world. I mean, this world is batshit crazy, right? So why not start doing things batshit crazy that works for us, that's in alignment with us, instead of following along with all the crazy batshit that's not in alignment and that is not fulfilling and that's toxic to whatever is going on in the world today, right? In the universe today. So it's a big paradigm shift. I just wanted to open the doors. I hope this was helpful for you. I'd love to hear anything, any feedback, any questions, any comments. I will be coming out very soon with something directly related to this. It's still percolating, but it's coming through. So stay tuned for that and have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.